This is Bangkok, the capital of Thailand and one of the most important cities in Asia. The city is a commercial center, the transit point and financial hub for automotive, food, and consumer electronic goods manufactured throughout Thailand. And Bangkok not only generates wealth, with high-end stores and exclusive malls on virtually every other corner in central Bangkok, it is a mecca for shoppers worldwide, especially those from Asia and Europe. Culturally, its dazzling Buddhist temples, palaces, and jungle-encrusted ancient ruins make Bangkok and Thailand a top-ranked destination for Western and Asian tourists alike. Normally, the city is abuzz with activity. But these are not normal times. Beginning in October and lasting throughout November of 2011, the floodwaters in Thailand's central provinces grew to such an enormous extent that they came to resemble an inland sea. And like a slow-moving tsunami, the waters gradually and inevitably worked their way towards the Gulf of Thailand. But between the water and the Gulf lay Bangkok, a city with a population of around 12 million people risked inundation. Frantic efforts on the part of the central government and Bangkok Metropolitan Authority ensued. But it was all far too little and much too late. Vast portions of western Bangkok and the regions immediately to the north and northeast disappeared under the waters. During the height of the flooding, our camera team decided to go into one of the hardest hit areas. Initially, the roads were only partially submerged. People struggled through the knee-deep water. But small cars and trucks were easily swamped. To get supplies in, the Royal Thai Navy distributed food and water to volunteers from the area. Riding on a converted garbage truck, we managed to get to the edge of the flood in Lam Luka. Along the way, people would stop the truck in order to hitch a ride into their village, grab a few relief packages to take to their submerged homes, or offer what help they could give to others in worse conditions. At the evacuation center, we found people from all backgrounds pitching in to help others. The mayor, the community health officer, and a local teacher had organized the efficient distribution of hot meals and other supplies. Still, life at the evacuation center was largely marked by the empty passing of time, especially for the elderly and very young. Meanwhile, others chipped in with innovations to bring supplies to remote areas. The mayor guided us to a distribution point. From there, members of the crew ventured into areas accessible only by boat. At first, the landscape actually reflected a bizarre sort of beauty, with temples and massive statues shimmering over the flooded fields. But when we got close, the devastation caused by the flood became readily apparent. Streets had become canals, and improvised boats had replaced cars. The murky water gave off a toxic smell. Inside one of the villages, our boat floated through the front door of a devastated home, and we met an old man. So bad were the conditions that he had taken to living partially on a styrofoam float. Going even deeper into the flood zone, entire highways had disappeared. Conditions were even more desperate. But wherever we went, people expressed a hearty resolve to endure and overcome. With entire housing estates submerged, residents coped as best they could. But they nevertheless depended on outside help to deliver food and drinking water. This almost always meant volunteers organized by charities, non-governmental agencies, or public-spirited companies. As we proceeded, the streets turned canals took on an eerie quality. Empty. Almost deathly quiet, but for the sound of water lapping up against the houses or the odd artifact caught in the wind. Nearing the houses, however, people and abandoned pets began to emerge. And you realize how close to the edge they were living. How tedious, harsh, risky, and unhealthy were the conditions they faced every day for weeks on end. What the pictures don't show you, however, is the psychological toll. Only after spending a day in a boat, traveling past one street after another, do you realize how isolated and remote life suddenly became for people. It might take a day to walk through knee-deep water to get to an exit point. It might take hours to pack a few belongings and travel by boat to a dry area, only to face the prospect of an impersonal evacuation center. So many people just decided to stay home and ride out the floods. Effectively, they didn't have anywhere else to go. Towards the afternoon, a 93-year-old woman paddled up to us by herself in an old Thai wooden boat. Smiling and colorfully dressed, she seemed to symbolize the optimism and tenacity of the victims of this great flood. With the sun setting, we finally docked our boat at a temple, where a monk appeared and thanked the volunteers for their efforts. This was one day in the flood zone. For well over a month, volunteers have needed to repeat their efforts each day in order to maintain life and help provide some hope. Some victims have seen parts of their homes destroyed. Others have lost businesses and jobs, and still others have lost everything.